Recyclico, making lithium-ion last forever. Recyclico's patented recycling process achieves up to 100% recovery of battery metals from lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, and aluminum. Recyclico Battery Materials Incorporated trades on the TSX Venture AMY, on the OTCQB AMYZF, and Frankfurt ID4. For more information, visit recyclicode.com or phone us at 778-574-4444. Recyclico, making lithium-ion last forever.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for chartsandmarkets.com. He's speaking to us from Vancouver. Welcome back to the show, Bob.
Yeah, Jim, always good to be with you and our listeners out there on our Friday mornings. Yeah, good stuff.
Bob, we'll kick off the show with a question from Michael. Bob, you mentioned in a post-bubble contraction, we would see a substantial decline in the stock markets. Would the gold stocks be included and also fall substantially in that type of environment?
In a word, yes. Yeah. But the thing to point out is that at the times when the S&P isn't being trashed, the gold stocks have many reasons to rise. And we've isolated the main reason is that in a post-bubble depression, the costs of mining fall relative to the bullion price. So the miners start to improve in their earnings, profit margins and earnings. And as I quip, it's Mother Nature's way of reliquefying the money markets when a credit bubble, all the nonsense of a credit bubble, is deflating rather hard. So when you look at it over all the years, and I'm just now writing a couple of pagers on a piece I put together quite a while ago, and it lists the great gold rushes in history, such as the California gold rush in 1848, when alluvial gold was found, and it became, look, the notes say that there was 300,000 miners arrived in that play just inland from San Francisco. And then in 1896 or whenever it was, you had the Klondike gold rush. And on that one, the notes say about 100,000 would-be prospectors from around the world got their way to the Klondike. But those great gold rushes, as recorded by the actual rush itself, they all occurred at the bottom of a depression. And that's when gold's real price would be at its highest. Although for certain periods, as we've been discussing, gold's price was fixed at
$35 an ounce.
Yeah, well, before the 35, it was 21 or something like that. So, anyways, it's fascinating to look at the details on it. And of course, at a depression bottom, you have high unemployment around the world. And nobody really then, any of the participants, didn't know about the real price being high, but they know that gold was very attractive. So you had the history there of a number of gold rushes occurring at the depression bottom. So, yeah.
The interesting thing about the Klondike gold rush, the Mounties made sure you had 2 tons of supplies.
Yeah.
To enter Canada to make sure that you would survive the winter and the harsh conditions.
Oh, yeah. No, they were very good that way.
And number 2, the only people who really made money were the merchants who sold the supplies, the pickaxes, the shovels, and so on.
Yep, yeah. No, there was, as I look at the notes on this one, there was a merchant, I forget his name, he instantly set up a small store and was selling the shovels and wheelbarrows and stuff like that. Then also, there was a gold rush at a small community in northern Washington State called Republic in the 1860s. It wasn't a huge rush. But one of the guys that went there did that, set up a supply store, sold it out, made money, and then he bought a herd of cattle in Oregon and drove them into southern British Columbia, where it was the start of serious ranching in southern British Columbia.
Yeah, and then, of course, you have Levi Strauss, who had the brilliant idea of making sturdy men's pants that were riveted together so they wouldn't come apart.
Well, he bought the denim fabric very cheap and was going to make tents out of it. Then he discovered that making blue jeans was even better. So.
And I guess the gold rush in California around San Fran peaked in 1849 because they named their football team the 49ers.
The 49ers, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Well, this is when the gold rush participants were called 49ers. Yeah. So anyways.
And a legend from my hometown of Peace River, Alberta, there was a guy named 12-Foot Davis. No, he wasn't 12 feet tall, but he noticed a 12-foot gap between two gold claims. So he picked it up and dug and hit it big.
Oh, isn't that great to hear? I love a story like that.
And the legend was he always left his cabin door open, unlocked, in case someone was lost and needed shelter. He was a friend to every man.
Yeah.
So that's the legend of 12-Foot Davis.
Love it.
We'll have more with Bob Hoye when we take a look at some headlines that caught his eye.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Bob Hoye. We're going to take a look at some of the headlines that caught Bob's eye. The first one from Bloomberg, credit card delinquency rate worst on record.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how long that record goes back, but it must be at least 15 years or 20 years. You never know. I should have looked at it. But it's a headline with a statement. Delinquency, credit card delinquencies. People have pushed their credit cards to the limit and then having trouble servicing it.
Yes, well, I took out a Walmart credit card so I could get a huge discount on an item I wanted to buy there. And right afterwards, I got a notice that they were boosting their interest rate to 29.9%.
Yeah.
I remember a time, Bob, that would be considered a mafia kind of credit rate.
No, credit card interest rates are horrendous. Yeah.
So get your cash back and pay it off same month if you're going to use it. Headline, used EV prices fall faster than gas cars.
Yeah, as we've been discussing it over the last year, the electric vehicles became a fad, and it's over because essentially the electric battery-powered cars did more harm to the environment on their as they're being made because of the items you needed to make them, and then they're hard to dispose when they run out, and then they're not very practical for driving. So yes, the the electric car thing, which are really battery cars, is dropping. And then there's another one from Germany, same thing.
A headline from Germany, electric car sales plummet 30%.
Yeah.
Well, going against electric car, they just did a poll. The biggest reason people don't buy them is cost. They're very expensive still.
Yeah, well, governments were subsidizing them, like $10,000 or $15,000 or something like that.
Second is range anxiety.
Yep.
And third, lack of infrastructure. Where are you going to charge it? And when you do find a charging station, there's some guy who's parked his pickup there that doesn't need to charge.
Yeah.
Or mostly it's broken charging stations. They're not well maintained.
Yeah.
So your Teslas will tell you where the nearest charging station is and when you should head for it. But so often you're disappointed that the thing's been vandalized.
Yeah.
So they need faster charging. Otherwise, and also in condos, you have to convince.
But the problem is fast charging can ruin the battery. You can only do it so many times. So anyways, and then we've got the report on the Empire State Fed report. It's sort of an economic report, and it plunged in April, and as the headline stresses, below all estimates on the numbers. So that's a good one.
Now, I can see why in Germany, too, they're in a recession, why electric car sales would plummet. But Germany, being cut off from Russian natural gas, is firing up all their coal-fired power plants again. Yeah. So really, how is that helping an environment at all?
Oh, well, recent coal-fired plants, they got scrubbing devices and everything else that remove a lot of the ash and specks and pollution and whatnot from coal-generated electrical plants. No, they're not a major problem outside of your radical environmentalist problem. So,
well, Vancouver is the Tesla capital of North America. You see the most here; their sales are high. But again, people in Vancouver they tend to stay just in Vancouver. They don't go on long road trips.
No, well, here's the reasons. You don't need much air conditioning in the summer, and air conditioning really bites into your range.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the wintertime, it doesn't get too cold, but any cold you got, it really bites into your range. So actually, Vancouver is kind of an ideal place for an electric car, but it's not the ideal vehicle, and people are discovering that these things are not an economic car to drive.
Yeah, Vancouver is like the Earth and the solar system. We're in the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, rug pull imminent as Wall Street the most bullish and euphoric since last market peak. In other words, they're going to pull the rug out from under us.
Yep. Yeah. Market forces, and that hit over the last week has been a heads up. But now it's kind of oversold enough on the near term to see a bounce. But I think it's a key break in the stock market. And as you recall, back in October, November, we called for a strong rally out to January on that old January phenomenon. And then when we got to January, we noted that the strength would continue into March, and the S&P set its high on March 28th. So, hey, objectives were made.
Is China's dumping driving Treasury yields higher?
Oh, yeah. The whole world, going back to the COVID lockdown, the whole world, and including leading central banks, bought U.S. long trade. And many of them are offside on them and are eager to sell. So drop in price has been significant. and it looks like it's getting oversold and could be basing here for a brief little correction, a rally thing, and then, but nonetheless, long interest rates have further to go up, and that would be for Treasuries, high-grade bonds, and also for low or high-risk junk bonds will be could become a disaster beginning a few months from now. So,
interest rates. The Fed at the start of the year was hinting it would have 3 drops, and all these people are going, oh boy, lower interest rates. That's just going to really make the economy boom along. Well, now core inflation in the U.S., not the official government rate of 2.9 or something, is still hanging around 7-8%. Could the Fed not even lower interest rates at all this year?
The Fed will follow the market rates as represented by the T-bill, and it set its high yield in August and declined for a while, and then more lately has been a bit firm. But I'm watching it for the short rates to start heading down. Now, we've also collect headlines about various pundits say that the decline in interest rates, and they lay it all to the Fed cuts will be positive for the stock market. But I've shown that rising short rates, as followed by the T-bill rate, is part of the boom. It's a confirming indicator. And then when interest rates head down, it's usually accompanied by the contraction. And you show a chart of the S&P and the T-bill rate, and the S&P, a very fast plunge in the T-bill rate will be associated with an equally fast plunge in the S&P. So these guys who are calling for Fed cuts to be beneficial to the stock market, it's all intuition. They haven't looked at history. So actually, I'm going to emphasize that the worst thing could happen is I follow the 6 months T-bill. And, who knows, maybe by December it could break down from its recent pattern. So.
And the last headline here, get your gold at Costco. They're always sold out, Bob. Everybody I know who has tried to buy gold, and Walmart does it too now.
I didn't know about Walmart. That's terrific.
And but every time people go in to buy, why not buy an ounce of gold while I'm here? They're sold out.
Wow.
So they're finding that whatever their consignment was, Joe Average is interested in gold. You just have to make it easy to buy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think these big outlets are doing the right thing. It's wonderful for the gold market and also for the customer, where at probably a very reasonable markup in price, they're getting their position in real gold. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, what the price you pay at Costco is not going to be the quoted gold price, say $2,400. You're going to be paying retail prices, so it'll be at least 2% more.
Yeah, well, as I say, I don't know what their markup is, but they're entitled to it, and I'm sure it would be modest. So,
yes, Costco has a 2 per member limit for buying gold bars or coins.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's still interesting while you're there getting your oversized can of tomato juice and giant ketchup bottle. Best buy I ever made at Costco was a telescope for my sister.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was $250 at the telescope store. It was $650.
Wow, yeah.
So there.
Yeah.
Keep your feet on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars. Kind of buy,
Yeah.
So, great deals there. But Costco's biggest money maker, their memberships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've got the ages. I mean, a really long time ago, I bought a brass surveyor's level, which, of course, has got a telescope in it. But you really can't use it for looking out the window because the image is upside down. Yeah. So then when they were surveying with this instrument ages ago, if you were looking at the rod with the numbers and markings on it, they would be printed on the rod upside down. So I never used an upside down surveying level. I used at that time, ages ago, a proper one. You were looking at things right side up.
Vancouver has the world's most unique Costco. The Costco by Vancouver's BC Place Stadium sells regular size items because the people who live in nearby Yaletown and the west end of Vancouver live in little tiny apartments and don't have room for those 8-gallon jars of pickles. So So they actually sell regular size stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's interesting to know. Yeah.
Bob, looks like it's time for us to get into the shopping cart and wheel our way down the aisle.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on an article on the history of gold rushes, and it's fun to read and put it together. So, and I'm looking forward to us getting together and doing our Friday morning meet next week.
My guest has been market historian Bob Hoye. He's the chief investment strategist for chartsandmarkets.com. If you have any questions for Bob, you can send them to info@housestreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on X @HouseStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HoweStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HoweStreet.com radio is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.